Group 16's presentation of search, search engines, and search engine optimization. Pre-web. Before the internet was invented, people could not easily access current sources that related to certain topics when doing research. An example people used was the Reader's Guide to Periodical Literature. The guide was a tool found in most public libraries that referenced other media organized by article subject. In the 70s, people made appointments with librarians to use encyclopedias. Unlike today, finding books required knowledge of subject headings. People with access to use the databases needed to order the title from interlibrary loans. This was expensive, and thus only few had access to these databases. Imagine the web like a vast library with every book being on a web page. When the web first started, you would type in a URL. In our case, you would choose a book and follow its string of references. You were limited to only the references provided and the references that those references had, and so on and so forth. This was the web, a tiny cluster of pages all isolated. Then the Dewey Decimal System of categorizing books to the web was applied. Eventually, some genius came along and decided that it was time to catalog the web. These were the first steps in progression towards modern search. And it started with Yahoo. Not Google, but Yahoo. Yahoo, when it first started, was not a search engine, rather, it was more like a catalog. You would search your broad category, like autos, food, news, or sports, and then click on one of the numerous links provided. It was kind of like a mystery goodie bag. This would lead to the first real concept of search, frequency search. At first, frequency search was not based on how frequently a website was actually used. Rather, it was based on the number of times a searched word appeared on a website. As frequency search advanced, the total number of words on a website began to be taken into account. Frequency search was now also based on what ratio of words on a website related to the words typed into the search bar, helping ensure that a website not only mentioned the desired word, but had a heavy focus on the search criteria. Let's take a look at some of the stakeholders for Google and Google's PageRank system. Some of the indirect stakeholders are small business owners who suffer because they can't afford to pay to appear high in search results. Large corporations are offered a bridge between themselves and the user through Google, and competition leads to innovation. Competing websites are required to develop new algorithms in order to remain relevant and offer a competitive edge above other search engines like Google. Direct stakeholders are users who directly interact with Google and the search system. The most prominent search engine today is Google. Google's search engine sorts results using the Google PageRank, which was developed by Larry Page in 1996. Essentially, PageRank compares the number of times a site is mentioned and linked by other sites, and uses an algorithm to order the results. For example, if page A and page B link to each other, they would be equally important. However, if page B links to page A twice as many times as A links to B, then page A becomes twice as important. However, there are possibilities of exploitation by falsely increasing the importance of a site. In addition, there are many other factors that go into the ranking system. Google confirms that they use about 200 ranking signals in their algorithm, but haven't listed them all for the obvious reason of secrecy. However, a lot of research has been done in an attempt to discover these ranking signals to get a better understanding of PageRank. As Google has moved towards custom rankings for user search results, some of these factors have evolved to better understand the specific user and their world. Although many PageRank factors still depend on things like domain name and backlinks, Google also uses things like social signals and a user's own search history to rank pages that appear in search results. Some major categories used for ranking a web page are domain factors, page level factors, and site level factors. Countless calculations go into determining what a user sees when they do a simple Google search. However, even with the many ranking signals used by Google, there are faults in its PageRank system. There was a time when Adobe Flash dominated the web. It was so integrated that it was uncommon to see a site not using Adobe Flash. Since it was so commonly used and referenced, it rose to the top of all searches when Google first implemented PageRank. If you searched cute puppy videos, your first result would have been Adobe Flash. If you were to search Seahawks trounce Broncos in the Super Bowl, your first result would have been Adobe Flash. Anything and everything turned up Adobe Flash. Needless to say, Google quickly put an end to this unintentional mistake by putting in place new code. But over time, others have found ways to get around and exploit the system. Another example of PageRank exploitation is the black hat operations done by JCPenney a few years ago. JCPenney took advantage of Google's PageRank during holiday season by using dead, irrelevant websites to link to a JCPenney product. This resulted in the Penny's products being ranked extremely high due to references from other websites, even though the other websites are essentially dead and useless. Once Google found this out, they removed the links and JCPenney fell in the PageRank system from number 1 in results to number 68 in a span of 2 hours. Other companies have also tried to cheat Google's PageRank system, but consistent updating and monitoring by Google limits the potential of these black hat operations. Google has been adding algorithms to improve search results and prevent exploitation of its search engine. Google Panda is a search algorithm created by Google in 2011 in order to change the rank of low-quality sites and return higher-quality sites to the top. News websites and social networking sites began to rise in rankings, while sites containing large amounts of advertising dropped in rankings. Google Penguin is a search algorithm created in 2012 aimed at decreasing search engine rankings of websites that violate Google's Webmaster Guidelines. Breaking these guidelines include black hat search engine optimization techniques or link schemes. Google has also announced all updates to this algorithm will be available to the public, unlike PageRank updates. Google's Hummingbird is claimed to be revolutionary in the world of search. It focuses on dealing with full questions and identifying and ranking the best answers to a user's questions. It is able to more quickly parse full questions as opposed to parsing searches word by word, and will ultimately affect about 90% of searches. The future of search engine optimization will evolve alongside technology with people's demands as it always has managed to do.